Hello friends, I am back. Probably don't want the game audio this loud. Oh, when I meant to sort the green screen on the back of here, it's come off. Quite a large piece of fabric. 1 second. Hello everyone. You saw my Marcus, I know, very embarrassing. Very much caught short. I have no Marcus. I just use core strength to stay upright. So I've been thinking, sometime let's talk about streaming. This is meta thoughts about streaming, doing a stream. I sometimes come into a stream like tonight when I feel real chatty. And I got loads of little topics in my head. But in Disco Elysium, for instance, the game's full of text and it's compelling enough. There aren't these long moments in there to just chat. And I think that's a shame. And part of me wonders if there should be like a block before the game, even if it's just a little one, where I can get some of that energy out of my system. And then at the end of it, it's like we've all had our chat now. And now there's nothing to talk about but the game. But then not every game is like that. Some games do give a long period of chatting, but you're still fundamentally focused on the game. Maybe there should be a block that's just like... That's what I mean. I could have a little bit where I don't know what I mean by chat. I don't know what that would look or feel like. I'd add stuff to it probably. But there could be something which is just some block of nothing in particular that sits before a game stream. Yeah. I mean, knowing me, it would morph into its own thing and it would gain its own identity. Much like the Night Hole was supposed to be chat, but it sort of picked up some vibe that people have got to tell weird anecdotes from their life. Which is fine, I'm never gonna... That's good for me, I like that. Because I know that if there is a degree to which when people come because I'm playing a certain game or doing a specific thing, they want to see that thing. And that's fine, that's sensible. Sometimes I just want to talk about a sandwich I saw or, you know, some weird interaction I had with the postman. And that's nothing to do with anything. So maybe that all needs to be like shunted into its own little block. Yeah, I think what Mono's suggesting, is more or less just what I was saying, I was thinking about doing. But do you think that's a good idea? I didn't see a sandwich, I've got sandwich on the brain from the end of Disco Elysium. And yes, to anyone who is lurking, this is the Night Hole. If you want to come into our Discord, we have an open voice channel where you are invited to tell anything. Their common flavours for the Night Hole have included what's it called? I guess UFOlogy and crypto stuff. By crypto I mean cryptozoology. Or yeah, just anecdotes from your life. But it could be a life update. I really don't want to be prescriptive. I'm more, you know, giving people ideas. Here's what you could bring. Oh, yes, I can. Thank you. Deactivate. Okay, it should be deactivated now. You may need to refresh if that hasn't come through. But it is deactivated on my end. Okay, just going to cook up some fish that have done nothing wrong. I cannot emphasize enough, these fish are innocent. What's happened with me in my life? I've been sleeping loads. I went to Jambud's last night and we had a curry, and then I just went to sleep at 7 o'clock. Not invited to stay around. wasn't the plan. Just fell asleep, and then I woke up when Jambud was actually trying to get to sleep at a normal hour. But by that point, I had a massive cramp in my ass, and I would not shut up about it. Hello.
I love joining to just hear you talk about a massive cramp in your ass.
Yeah,
I missed something between muting the stream on my laptop and joining the voice chat, and I've missed some real key context about the ass cramp.
I wouldn't say so. I just woke up with an ass cramp. The problem with an ass cramp, though, if you'd allow me just to keep talking about it,
of course,
is that, you know, if you've got a bad muscle cramp, you want to knead it, right? Or you want someone else to knead it. It needs kneading. The knot needs.
Yeah.
But the ass muscles, they're deep in this glute pouch, you know? You got to really get in there to get into the ass muscles. I'm storing a lot of fat around that area. That's where I keep it. I guess what I'm saying is Jambud has to put up with a lot. Anyway, please tell me about these bees.
I mean, I haven't actually met the bees yet. I've had my first of 4 fortnightly Zoom calls, which prepare you for actually going to the bees in summer.
In fact, would you like to give a longer run-up into the context of this story for people that aren't aware?
Of course. I was in a cafe at the chaplaincy for the surrounding universities, and the cafe was too busy, so I left. But on the way out, I saw a sign advertising like free volunteer beekeeping courses, and I thought, yeah, I'll keep some bees. That sounds good. So now I'm enrolled in beekeeping volunteering for the summer.
I always think the idea of someone seeing a sign on a, you know, electrical pole or a wall, a bin, and then making some reasonably significant changes to their life based on the suggestions of the sign. I would call that normally bad screenwriting, and yet you're living it.
I mean, you already know that I've made several life decisions based on dreams I've had, so I am awfully written.
That's fine. That puts you in cahoots with the pharaohs. Wasn't that like Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat? Wasn't that all about dream interpreting for emperors?
It was, and I own a lot of very colourful jackets.
Yeah, maybe you're Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. It would be an awfully biblical brand for you to pick up.
I mean, I enjoyed the musical. I don't know if is there a story of Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat aside from the musical? Because I've only ever heard of it in the context of the musical.
I've only ever heard of it within the context of Catholicism.
This is where we differ, I see.
There lies the cultural divide.
So Larva's just said what was good about his coat anyway. I don't actually know in the Bible, but in the version of the musical that I watched, it was a very colourful coat.
You need to appreciate that back then the things weren't normally that colourful. And once you've got your head around that, the appeal of the coat comes into full focus.
I'm going to Google now to see if I can find the actual story.
Was his brother or his father called Levi?
I I think one of his brothers was.
I remember that because I was thinking, like the genes. I was thinking, I don't know what it was, but in my head I was like, oh, so he's gonna get like I was thinking ahead as a child and being like, well, I know Joe's.
That's how you remember the scripture. Just think of the genes.
No, I remember thinking,
got your genes.
okay, so Joseph's gonna get a coat, so then at some point Levi's gonna get jeans, but he never did. That's why that's in my head, because I had this like bad prediction.
I think they should rewrite this story so Levi gets jeans.
No, just rewrite Joseph out of it. Just call it Levi's jeans.
Levi's jeans. Levi and his amazing jeans.
Levi and his denim loose cut jeans.
The story of the coat of many colours in the Bible is a lot more... I don't think there was any dipping a coat in goat blood in the musical.
They didn't do that bit. I'd have thought you could make a great song and dance to that stuff. Oh.
Oh,
PD says there is.
Yeah, what? I must have missed that bit.
I don't understand how to do a dash line in Photoshop because the line is actually a box in disguise. Hang on, let me try and... I don't understand how to do a dash line in Photoshop because the line is actually a box in disguise. So the dashes overlap. What? It overlaps on the corner of the box? I'm not sure if I fully... You can do it. You can use the line tool and you can select a dotted line. And then the line will be dotted. I don't know how... I would need to have more information about what the problem is. Sorry, Cillian. The floor is now yours again.
I mean, I'm just thinking about Photoshop now.
And that's
trying
valid.
To figure out what's going on without... No, I did use Photoshop a few years ago, but not since then. I don't think I ever tried to do a dashed box.
Would you ever talk to a stranger through a window?
What?
Would you ever talk to a stranger through a window?
Maybe. It depends on a lot of things.
What if it's the postman? Or the post worker, sorry.
I live like 2 floors up, so I'm really not sure how that'd work. I'd yell out of the window.
Yeah.
But then I'd feel a bit like Scrooge in The Christmas Carol getting a guy to fetch the big turkey.
I normally would never yell out the window, but I discovered recently in the bath that I could talk from the bath to the delivery guy. Because if they'd ring the doorbell, you know, what do? Do I come up out of the bath? They normally leave, right? They don't give you very long. So if I wanted to dry off so I'm not dripping on the carpeting, so I normally wouldn't do it because I feel uncomfortable. But I did say, look, I'm in the bath. What do we do? Where do we go from here?
Did you both have to figure out a solution together?
Well, and it was kind of like, does it need a signature? No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, can you just leave it in such and such a place? And then they did. If they need a signature, I'd say, look, don't leave because I've confirmed I'm in and I'm coming. The problem is this technique only works in the bath.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work.
You can't just be hanging out in the bathroom all the time waiting for a delivery.
No, I'm not suggesting that, Cillian. That's obviously absurd. I'm saying I wouldn't do the same technique from the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's on to be doing a poo or a wee and have a conversation with a stranger.
Yeah, because there's certain sounds accompanying that they would hear and then...
No.
To leave.
If I needed to have a conversation, I could stop those sounds. I'm not constantly producing sounds. You can't stop the sounds?
I can stop the sounds.
Yeah, we can all stop the sounds.
By the time when you hear that the delivery person has arrived, I mean, I don't know how it works, how you find out about the arrival of the delivery person. If they knock on the door, but by then they've probably already heard the sounds.
Well, they won't necessarily know where those sounds were coming from, you know. They know someone's pooing. But, you know, we're not like a standalone house. We're a maisonette. We're also, what's it called when, like, you got houses next to you and you share some of the exterior walls?
I'm not an architect, I don't know.
There's detached, semi-detached, and then terrace. There we are. We're terrace, so it's terrace. There's multiple floors. Where our flat begins is actually not very easy to pass from the outside. So merely the sounds of excretion won't give the game away, I think.
You've got plausible deniability.
Well, not even that. It's just like, I don't know if it's the same person. But then if I were to shout out of the toilet, I would give the game away.
Yeah, because the shouting and the sounds would be coming from the same location.
Well, what I was thinking, here's, because I've thought this through, there's one major reason why you can't do it from the loo. Because let's say you're, you know, pissing or shitting, or, you know, sometimes both. Sometimes you do both. And then you go out to see the guy, you wouldn't be able to flush, because if you flushed, you'd give the game away.
Oh, yeah.
Which means you'd have to leave the toilet unflushed while you roam. And if anyone's in like a flat sharing or even just lives with anyone, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I'd rather die. So it's uniquely a bath thing, I think. Even a shower, the shower's too loud to compete with.
What about brushing your teeth?
No problem. That's no problem. Though normally I combo a brush with using the toilet.
I've tried to do that before and it just didn't work. I could only focus on one thing at a time.
Oh, like one brush, one wee.
Yeah.
You live buddies, so you send them out. How do I contact them? You're right. You'd think if someone else was in, they'd just get the door.
Yeah.
But it's not always that simple. Sometimes people are engaged in something that doesn't let them get the door. Life's complicated. Life's so hard. Life's just so hard.
I feel like you've got to figure out who's more engaged in the task currently at hand, you pooing or whatever the other person is doing. And then you've got to silently, telepathically communicate, no, you've got to go, I'm doing the worst thing here.
Well, yeah, you've got to play a kind of gambling game. 1 second, I've got a radio message in my wet alien life.
This is Officer Keenan, Light Pod 19. The captain is gone. I have assumed command. The last thing the captain did was give me coordinates for dry land. We regrouped 1.5 kilometers southwest of the crash site. Stay together and good luck. This message will now repeat.
Rendezvous coordinates corrupted. Transmission origin coordinates downloaded. Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Okay, I've got some coordinates for the game. And we're back, I think. Are we back?
Oh, yeah, the stream is reloaded.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Just a big old crash. Could it have been the insects? I don't know. Don't want to say no. Do you think anyone's ever going to use "Hi, I'm new" sincerely? Am I being silly?
I was just saying this. The The only people who have used it so far are not new and are just enjoying the novelty of a new canal puncture redeemable option that does nothing.
What does Hi I'm New do? I just saw it as a
Nothing.
tip. It just says Hi I'm New, and I saw it as a tip suggested that, you know, sometimes people are new and they don't know what to say, and you give them a cheap redemption, and then Twitch, when you can afford a redemption, Twitch gives you the cheapest one and goes, do you want to do this? And then you can just do it. And then I thought that might be nice, you know. There is an image trigger. Oh, you mean it on the screen? Yeah, maybe.
I think what it needs is a little bear, like, peeking over your head when someone redeems Hi, I'm New.
No, it should be another clip of me from the other side of the screen, and I'm wearing military fatigues, and I go, someone new is here, and then I point a gun at the screen and just start shooting. Get him, get him.
I don't think the how to improve your Twitch engagement websites will tell you that that is a good idea. A little bear, on the other hand, that's what people come to this channel for. The icon is a little bear for the canal puncture. You can't really tell, but it is a bear somewhere.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's really me, though. I think me shooting at the screen is me. Could someone try... Could someone try and trigger the insectoids thing, and we'll learn the hard way if it's...
What about these insectoids? Squishy.
We made it through.
Okay, insectoids works. I think we need to find a middle ground between cute little bear saying hello and shooting directly at the new viewer. There's got to be a middle ground of slightly hostile.
What if the bear shoots at the screen?
Yeah, that works. That's perfect.
That's good.
That is
Bear
that is
attacks the
reinforcing Grand Morley.
viewer. What I would love is a channel redemption that does some kind of oh no, I forgot it. Videodrome. I'd love to do like a Videodrome video redemption that just leaks organs out of your TV. Is this a repair gun? Can I repair? Nice.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Stare directly at the camera and say hello to them by name. I mean, I could just decide to do that. I don't need to make it, which is appealing. Bears
If it's
come
a
out
thing
of the
you
gun.
can do in the moment, what's the point? You need to have an extra block of time set for making needlessly complicated assets. Otherwise,
Although-
it's just not worth it.
Well, you know, there's a school of thought which says I need to stop doing that for everything.
The school of thought which prioritizes self-care, yeah.
Yeah.
What is this stock image that Spangle Flouket has just said? Oh, it's a teddy bear with a gun.
Perfect. Yeah, hang on, let me look at this.
Oh, now I'm just on a stock image website. It's all downhill from here.
Could someone try and find one that hasn't got the watermarks on it? I don't want it to be a cop as well.
It just has a gun. This is not a cop. Okay, there.
No, it's a cop. It's a cop. Look at its uniform.
That is very much a cop. That's not what we want. Oh, I
That
found...
bear has been radicalized by the state.
On dreamstime.com, the website that Spangle linked to, when you look up something,
This is Officer Keenan,
I've just
Light
looked
Pod
up bear gun, and it has given me some suggestions, which are bear, bear gangster,
The last thing
and
the captain
rifle.
did was give me coordinates for dry land. We regroup 1.5
I'd love to know
kilometers southwest of the
why
crash
or
site.
how it came up
Stay
with
together
bear
and good luck.
gangster.
This message will now repeat.
If anyone can just find a bear with a gun, whether a teddy bear or a real bear,
Coordinates downloaded.
I found a bear with a gun.
Signal location
yeah,
uploaded
post it in there. Hang on.
today.
With no watermark, though, as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I can get rid of watermarks, but it takes ages. And as well, if you can, if anyone can find a picture of a bear where it looks like I could put a gun on it, or oh no, these things are eating my. I forgot all of the food making and water making I did at the beginning. It's gone because I crashed the game. A bunch of rocks. Do I want this? Maybe.
Oh, one key element I forgot to mention about my future beekeeping efforts is that they will be happening on the roof of a building.
Right.
Which
That is
I
going to be
guess,
nice.
yeah, if you want to have bees in like a city centre, I guess roof is a good place to have them.
Roof is a great place to have them, I think.
I think all roofs should have bees.
You think all roofs should have bees? Yeah, okay. I can get on board. So what are you actually going to be doing? What, like...
I'm not actually entirely sure. Let me find the
what's been on
beekeeping
those,
note.
what are those Zoom calls been about? What have
I
they
mean, the
said
first
anything in
Zoom
there?
call was just about the life cycle of bees, the different types of bees,
Right.
what bees are doing when they're in the hive.
Can you tell me more about that?
I learned about a thing called a queen cup, which is... It's basically a little thing that you get hanging off. It's sort of like an elongated cell, like you know what a honeycomb looks like.
Yeah, hexagons.
It's like one of those cells that's got a weird thing coming off it that is sort of shaped like a bee. And bees make queen cells when either the current queen is ill or they just don't like her for some reason, but I'm
Tell
not
me more
entirely
about this.
sure.
Sometimes they just don't like the queen. This queen
I'm
sucks.
not entirely sure about this. From some videos I was watching earlier, it might be that someone has tried to introduce a new queen to a hive that ended up queenless because a queen died. And
Right. They put a shit
just-
queen in.
yeah. So the bees, the worker bees, which are all female, which I learned today and didn't know until about 3 hours ago, they
What?
will start making this queen cup, and then one of the, I think, hang on, let me fact check this.
Yeah, please no lies on the stream.
Yeah, I don't want to be telling bee lies.
One fib equals one kick.
I am the most kicked person in this Discord, I think.
And that should make you happy. That should be something to celebrate.
I'm the most controversial figure this community has.
You are. You're the most cancelled person here. Silicon. One fib equals one kick. Thank you, that's good. That's a good activity ticker. Okay, what do I not need?
Yeah, bees can move a new egg into the queen cup, and then they feed the egg that is in there exclusively royal jelly, and that's how a bee becomes a queen, because All bees, all like bee larvae, get fed royal jelly at the beginning, but then most of them move on to like a diet of pollen, I think, and that's how you get normal bees. I've got no idea how any of this works. I just know that it happens.
So you just get given enough jelly and then you're the queen?
Yeah.
That's
Somehow
sick.
that does
I
make
love
sense.
that. I think there's a Roald Dahl story about royal jelly. Where I think a woman wants to get really fertile, so she just has loads of royal jelly and becomes a queen human.
I've just sent a link to an image of a queen cup, or a queen cell.
Yeah? Let's have a look.
It looks fucked.
Is it that thing on the right?
Yeah.
Okay, incoming? Is this here on the right? So what, they roll you up? It's like a coffin. It's not a cup.
No, that's not the current queen, I don't think. I think that's what they make in preparation for sort of like incubating a new queen.
But what here is the cup?
I don't know. I think that's just what it's called.
But what am I looking... Cillian, help me out. What am I looking at?
I don't really know. I learned about this for the first time 2 days ago.
But what did you learn? What's a queen cup?
It's...
The pictures not helped with anything.
I'm gonna find some more pictures in the hope that this somehow helps.
Was I expecting a mug or something? Mono, it's irrelevant what I was expecting. I don't know which aspect of the image is the cup, so I can't even be surprised.
It's the thing on the right. You asked me this and I said yes.
Oh, right, okay. And they go in that then? They go in it?
I mean, there's an egg laid in there, and then the
Is
egg
there a bee
grows
in
into
that?
a queen. Maybe. Yeah,
Just like a
I
peanut.
assume so.
Okay, it turns out you did give me more information than I was banking on. I thought you'd just given me an image, and I just didn't know which bit of it was the relevant part.
I mean, that's something I want to do now. I send you a picture of a beehive, and you label everything like a Boomer cartoon. Just trying to figure out what you're looking at.
Well, remember, before Boomer political cartoons, there were labels
Yeah,
on
they
images.
did have diagrams.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've described a diagram but called it a boomer thing. I want to object to that. I think diagrams have their place.
I did momentarily forget about the existence of diagrams.
Oh. I'm approaching a logistical issue in the game. I need to get down real deep. But if I go down too deep, the hull of this gets damaged. Does that mean I'll get damaged?
Passing 100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased. Passing 200 meters.
I need to have this. Oh, I've accidentally chucked it. I'm gonna die. I've chucked something important. Oh, I've chucked it and it's floated away. Oh, I've fucked my life. Okay. Don't panic, don't panic. Just go back to the sea moth. I wanted to equip my inflatable, but instead I think I just let it go. But because it's inflatable, it would have just gone up. So I'm gonna go up and look for it.
I'm now going to solely refer to diagrams as boomer memes now. Just to really infuriate anyone I talk to.
I mean, that's not a good motivation for anything. just to be
What
clear.
have you built your Twitch channel on?
Just friendship.
That's the primary motivation of your Twitch viewers.
What are you talking about? We all love each other.
We all love each other, but we also like to do a joke.
You're allowed to do a joke. I'm saying you shouldn't be solely motivated by causing anger and frustration. I don't think that's contentious.
Damage imminent.
Oh, I don't know how to go down there. Sorry, reception music. I've I've learned how to monetize having an image of a lemon. I'm actually the first person online to do so. Thank you very much, Maggie. Can't believe it. I'm rinsing people for this bloody lemon.
Did I miss the context for the lemon?
Yes, probably. Do you know that there's a Dr. Plem emote as well?
Oh yeah, I've used that already.
As long as you're using that and not what you used to use.
Speech.
Well, no, you'd sometimes say the wrong thing and it would land you in hot water. I need to go really deep down, but I don't know how. The Cyclops is what I need. I guess I should go look for Cyclops stuff. Oh no. I think I remember where the Cyclops stuff was, and it was bad. Why am I dying? Why am I dying? Why am I dying?
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I just got out of my little dinghy thing and just started to scream, and I don't know why. Something hurt me, but I don't know what. Did anyone
Your love
catch
for
me
your
screaming?
son.
My love for my son, Crinston.
Yeah, you got out your dinghy and started screaming.
Oh yeah.
You were
thinking
struck
about
by
my
raw
child.
emotion.
Too much frubes in my circulatory system.
Does anyone have any questions about bees that I can try and fail to answer?
Yeah, now's your chance. Now's your
I
chance
feel
to
like
go.
I've painted myself as the resident bee expert, which I mean I might be relatively.
I wouldn't say you've done that.
What's your take on carpenter bees? I'm not sure I know carpenter bees. My bee learning is focused solely on honeybee. What's the best bee? My favorite non-fictional bee is. I don't know. I've not really.
Well, I know
met
what my
any
follow-up
bees in
question
real
is going
life.
to be now.
Oh, there's so many questions. Are the wet bees? If something has gone wrong, yes. Oh, Dominic Cummings has done some beekeeping. I have been watching videos of people who do beekeeping, and when they're moving bees from one place to another, they can just scoop them up with their bare hands, and it's the way the bees move when that happens. It's like the bees are just a viscous liquid rather than a bunch of individual little creatures.
Because there was that woman that would make those TikTok videos of her just
I
picking the
watched
bees
all
up.
of those.
And everyone was saying, oh, this can't be real because bees will sting you. I was thinking, it's probably real. It's probably real life.
I can't imagine how being a TikTok bee fraud would work and what would go into doing that.
You can be in anything fraud these days. It's a really exciting time to lie online.
I mean, I
never-
have just said I'm a bee expert and then failed to answer any questions, so
Yes, so you'll know how easy of a field it is to get into.
yeah. The crashes Catbox was having. But
I think the chances that it's caused by the same thing. Computers
Yeah.
are even more complicated than bees. Hello, everyone. I've come back. We are live again, Cillian.
hello.
Could it be the new OBS update? Could it be Subnautica? It didn't do anything on Disco, which makes me think it's not. If you're running any plugins, yeah, I got a host of plugins. I got all kinds of plugins. I'm plugged in.
You're supposed to tell the bees when someone dies.
What? How do you tell them? Just verbally?
I assume so.
You could write it on a piece of paper and then just slot it into the hive.
I feel like I've been usurped by Dominic Cummings, who has done actual beekeeping and is therefore more qualified than I am.
Maggie, do you have any tips on working out which thing could be causing the issue? Because I've got multiple plugins. I don't want to disable all of them. Some of them are good. I like some of them. Check my OBS crash log. Ah, okay. Log files, crash reports. Show crash reports. Okay. And the date today is the 18th. Okay. Should we look at these crash reports? For fun. I don't understand this. I can't read this. What am I looking at here? Do I go to the bottom? Go to the top of it. It looks like it's my pitch proof. It looks like it's my audio plugins, right? If the stuff at the top is the crash. No, Steinberg is a default plugins folder, so it's where my audio plugins are. Well, the ones that I use for stuff that isn't exclusively for Ableton. Yeah, pitch proof. So I should disable that. I mean, just tell OBS not to use it. Yeah, I had 2 crashes. But what am I using pitch proof on?
What does pitch proof do? What's its purpose?
It's a pitch shifter, I think. I could. Do you know what? I'm not even using it. I just think that OBS is looking in the folder and trying to make it so I could use it. So I could always tell it not to look in there anymore. Just kill it. I'm just trying to check how it even... I'm not even using it. Yeah, it's loaded into the library, so I need to go into a library and say, don't look in here anymore. Don't look in this library. It makes you sick. Keep looking in here, but you keep getting ill. It's a shame, though, because pitchproof is what allowed Jeanette's voice. That was how I... that's how I pitched up my voice.
She's doing revenge.
Jeanette's revenge. Jeanette got enough revenge, I think. See if
Yeah,
there's
but
a
now
pitch...
she's in your computer and she's angry that you left her behind and haven't let her out to breathe on
excuse
Twitch.tv.
If you remember your law, please, I'm inside Jeanette Wales and my
Of
computer is
course.
inside
Sorry.
her with me.
Maybe there's an even smaller Jeanette inside your computer.
Did I tell you about my
Oh, in
original
there.
plan
There's
for
an
Mean
even
Machine?
smaller shop.
Did I mention what I
think you
originally
did.
wanted to happen with that whole story, and then it was just too much work and I couldn't do it?
I definitely heard it on a podcast that you were on.
Why did I talk about Jeanette on a podcast? That's sick. It'll be loaded into the library. How have I loaded it into the library? How? Where have I done this? How have I done anything that I've done? Advanced audio properties? How have I done this? Yeah, but where do you tell? Where did I do it? I can't see. The DLL file is in VST. Oh. No, but it's saying it's in my Steinberg thing, so I haven't put it in the OBS one. Because delete it will move it. Other things rely on it. I don't want to move it out of that folder. Do you know what? I'll rename the folder for now and come back to it later. You don't get to see my files. I'll just rename the folder and I'll call it Steinborg. and then OBS won't find it anymore. There we go. Now it's Steinborg. And then if OBS looks in Steinberg, it's not there. I've got Steinborg, but Sean hasn't told me to look for that. We are now past technicals, I think. Oh, Maggie.
Dominic Cummings, I am willing to leave the night hall to let someone with greater bee expertise come on, and
You
so
don't have
I
to
can
leave.
eat a Kinder Bueno.
We could
Yeah,
have
but I
the
need to
two
eat a Kinder
beekeepers.
Bueno.
Oh, if you need to eat a Kinder Bueno. Can I just check in with Maggie before I relinquish this and say this is done? Is it definitely pitch proof that's been doing it? Source release, source destroy. I just want to be sure that that's definitely the error resolved. That's where the fault address is, so probably, right? And that fault address doesn't even exist anymore. It's Steinborg now. That's fine. Let me have a look at what else was in there. Oh. Oh, a lot of things. Oh, a lot of things. But it was pitch proof specifically. Do you know what? I'm going to change it back, but I'm just going to delete pitch proof. Pitch proof gone. I'm getting rid of pitch. I'll find another pitch VST, and I'm changing it back to Stone. There's other stuff in there that's important. There's like a bunch of OBS VST DLLs in there, but pitch proof is gone, and I'll sort it out later. Okay. I sort of can't be bothered doing. I can't be bothered doing that same bit of Subnautica again. Dominic, you are more than welcome to come into the night hall. I don't yet know what I'm doing. No, I will just play Subnautica again. But then if it crashes, well, if it's the VST folder, it's nothing to do with Subnautica, and Subnautica is just background for a wonderful chat about bees, right?
You could play Google Snake, or just look up stock images of bees as a visual aid for this bee debate that I'm apparently about to have.
I know what I could do. I make the visual for the Hi, I'm New, because we've just been talking about that. And it'll be a bear that shoots a gun. And I could make that while Dominic Cummings talks to me about bees.
And the gun shoots out bees instead of bullets.
If you like. I'm going to go into just chatting. And then we're away.
Hello.
Hello, let me just boost
Hello,
you a
Dominic
little bit.
Cummings.
Right, you're gonna have right, there we go. Right, you're gonna have to bear with me because I don't really know how this works. So I'm
That's
sat in front
fine.
of my laptop.
You're coming through loud and clear, but you might want to mute the stream, I think, because I'm coming through with a delay in the
Yeah, so the
background.
delay is mad, right?
The delay is truly bonkers.
I've just noticed the part on the repeating square pattern
Right,
where
hold
it
on a
gets
sec.
slightly
I'm trying to
elongated.
work out how I can hear.
Well, are you listening to the stream?
Right, I'm going to tell the bee story, but I can't hear what's going on. I can't hear you, Mr. Morl.
You can't hear me through Discord. Oh, you wanted to hear this. Can you hear this question?
Hold on. Not the one. Hello.
Hello.
Here we go. I've done it. Right, hello.
Yay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hold on. I had it. Hello.
Hello. Can
Hello.
you hear me?
Here we go. I'm on. Hello, everybody.
Nice. Welcome to the Night Hole, Dominic Cummings.
Hello, Mr. Sean Morley. And hello, Cillian.
Hello.
Good evening.
Can I just say, I think about your song for Morl Vision constantly. The rap
Right.
part gets stuck in my head a lot.
Well. You see, there's a little bit of an ulterior motive with jumping into this night hole. The bees is real. The bees is absolutely real. I have done beekeeping, but I meant to send Mr. Sean Morley an email in January, yeah, and I still haven't done it. Which was, so I am Dominic Cummings, but I was never meant to be Dominic Cummings. It was a total accident, right? A total accident. The first thing that I found was ETN, yeah, and I thought it was the best thing I'd ever seen in my whole entire life, like ever. And then,
Did you play one as a solo player?
yes, that's me.
And
That's literally where I was just gonna go. I was on the second episode of ETN.
Did you eat a
as the
burger
single
and
solo
died?
player, and you and Jack thought I was a crackhead, but I'm genuinely not.
Jack was convinced you were on something.
This is it. I'm not even saying that I don't do that stuff, but you know, on that occasion, I was absolutely sober.
On that day, yeah.
But yeah,
That's so funny. That's you.
yeah, ridiculous, right? But I'm the biggest fan. Honestly, I swear to God, I've listened to every Mando's episode about 5 times.
Oh wow.
Sorry, say it again.
Oh, I just said, oh wow.
Oh yeah. Oh, the biggest fan of all of you lot. It's incredible. It's fantastic. But beekeeping, right? Beekeeping. Yeah. So I ended. Do we know who George Lamb is?
Don't know.
So he's off the telly, right? He was on T4, and his dad was in EastEnders, right? George Lamb. He's got grey hair, 2000s type presenter, right?
I'll bring up a picture.
Yeah, George Lamb, right? And his dad's sort of famous, right?
This guy?
Yeah, get a picture up of him. Yeah, this fella. Yes. So I'm going to have to fill in context. Yeah, this one, right? So this guy gives me a call one day, right? And says, I've got a project that I want to start, right? It's I want to get kids back into nature. I've got a mate who's a head teacher at a school in Barnet, and I'm gonna basically get all the kids into nature. So I ended up getting this job where we were on this spot. It's a school, but it's a field next to a school in Barnet, whatever. George Lamb got his big idea, and all of a sudden we're on this field with like 5 beehives, and he's like, right, well, you're going to be beekeeping. So for the next couple of weeks, there was a bloke that come in sort of a couple times a week and sort of said, yeah, this is how you look after the bees. It was very sort of.
Hang on, can I pause and ask some questions? Because this
yeah,
has moved real fast.
Go on, sorry, I knew this was going to happen, but yeah, absolutely, go on.
So, why were you asked to look after? Do you have some relationship to school? Like, it's about getting kids back to nature. But like, were you working with kids? Were you a person that it made sense to ask to learn to?
I'll try and fill in the gaps like without rambling like at all. So
you can ramble as much as you want.
I'm from Derby originally, and I fell into that trap of thinking that London was the place to go. So I actually started doing a politics degree at Goldsmiths, but I hated it. lasted a few months. Stayed in London, got a job at a production company. This was like 2010, 2010. Anyway, ended up for the past decade sort of working in the media sort of thing. But I make things basically like all your lot sort of Blender and Adobe stuff. Like I love all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of that stuff, but mainly for sort of record labels and pop stars and all that sort of business.
Mm-hmm.
But media stuff, right? Sort of creative, blah, all of that business.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've come across George a few times through people that I'd met here and there. I don't really have a relationship with him. He must have just known someone that knew me who said, yeah, there's a kid there that needs some money, so give him a ring and he might be able to help you. And I've always been, I'm into the nature thing myself, I suppose. Sort of being near the Peak District, living in Derby and all that, so maybe that's my connection to it. But it's very tenuous. There was no like real, I haven't lived on a farm and I don't know George Lamb. And I don't
You
know
were
his
just
dad or
someone he
anything like that.
kind of knew, and he needed some people to look after bees, and he had your number.
Basically, yeah, he wanted to try and the thing that he told me when I met him. Do you know Palace and Supreme?
Palace.
Trendy brands. You know Supreme, these trendy brands that kids queue up for.
Not really part of my world. Palace brand.
I am
Anyway,
aware of Supreme.
there you go.
I
This
know
is
their
it.
logo.
It's just a trendy brand. But what he said to me, he was like, I want to be the Palace. There you go, that one. I want to be the Palace of environmentalists. This is what he said to me.
Right. He wants to be like branded environmentalism.
Just as like a bit of a, this whole thing ended horrendously. Like he sacked me twice. It was really, it was bad. So it didn't end well. Just to give you context, like I didn't get on with him. Like I was doing work for him. Yeah, I remember one thing he said to me, like did something for him, and he come back and he went, "Can you make it 10% cooler?" Like, you fucking I was like, so what I did do.
Okay, this goes clientsfromhell.com.
I made a website which was like 10%cooler.com. It's not even there anymore. I didn't keep up with the fucking payments or whatever, but I made a website, 10%cooler.com. I made like I was just angry and just made this whole like fucking thing about how
was it
countries
spelled?
kind of people-
10%cooler.com.
It was TEN%cooler.com. It won't come up. I swear to God, it won't come up. But
I'm on Wayback Machine.
oh shit, maybe.
Oh,
TEN.
sorry.
I think it was. But yeah. Anyway, this tenuous relationship. But I ended up working on this in this school. It was a school. Like they had to CRB check me and everything. And the whole thing was, you take a bit of science out of the curriculum, you take a bit of PA out of the curriculum, and you replace it with growing and nature and all this and blah, blah, blah. I think it's a fantastic idea. I've been involved with allotment projects in Derby for ages, right? With my mates, where you do community allotment projects and you get people down in the allotment and you know you're showing people how you grow food and all this, right? But the business that George Lamb is doing is not that. It's
not useful. It's not good.
Right next to this massive. He's an idiot. He's a big idiot. But I did get this beekeeping experience. I caught a swarm of bees on Finsbury Park. That was interesting.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just me and one other person actually that did that one. But as I was saying, it's very slow. You don't have to do a lot. You sort of just have to give the bees will be swarming, right? So bees, if they get disturbed, they'll be out flying around, swarming, looking for somewhere to nest. And when that's happening, that's when you try and catch them. And I remember asking the question, I was like, do you not just leave them to do their thing? And they was like, no, you direct them to a hive because then you can look after them, sort of thing. So it sort of makes sense. But it's very it's very subtle, and once you've got them on that path where they're going, you only need a few of the whichever bees it is that fly out first. You only need a few of them to settle, and then over the next few hours, you just sort of sit there and watch, and the bees just move. They just migrate. It's incredible, and the bees dancing. So this is a thing. Apparently, like I'm no expert at all, but the bees dance to communicate, like fully. It's not just a thing. Like they will talk to each other by doing these dance moves, and they do different dance moves depending on the different moods and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're incredible. And the telling the bees what you're doing all the time. That's the thing. I've heard that not just when I was beekeeping. I've heard that talking to other people as well. It's a thing. Like you get up in the morning and you're on your farm, whatever, and you're on your land and you're doing your business, and you'll just go by the bees and you just let them know what's going on.
What kind of things would you say to the bees?
So I remember the person I was chatting to used the example of birds and deaths as sort of maybe the obvious examples, but I don't know. You could tell them anything, I suppose.
Did you tell them
Whatever's
anything
important to you.
personal?
Yeah, I think you could get quite personal with bees.
But did you get personal with the bees?
Did I get personal with the bees?
Did you tell the bees anything secret or personal about yourself?
You know what? I don't think I did. I don't think I took the opportunity to do that. Maybe I did. No, I don't
That's
think
fine.
I did.
You don't know who to trust these days.
This is it. This is it. You know, Tory bees.
So, how long were you beekeeping for, all in all?
I would say maybe 3 or 4 months.
Okay. And were you interacting with children? Like, were children being taught about bees, or were you just beekeeping?
We were, fully in the classrooms with the children, and fully interacting with the children, 100%.
Did any kids get stung?
No,
Wow.
never saw any anything like that, and all the kids generally seem to stay quite calm as well, which was interesting. Obviously,
because I remember in school, if a wasp came in, that was it. It was an excuse to scream.
Well, this is it. This is it, isn't it? You know, you see a swarm of bees and you think to go mad and run all over the place, but if you just go and plonk yourself in the middle of the bees, they're not going to bother you. They're not bothered. If you're just sitting there and minding your own business, they don't care. They're not bothered.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They're nice. Nice bees.
So what was the downfall? What were the sackings for? Where did it all go wrong?
Right. So the first one came pretty quickly.
You want to get the first one out of the way early on in any job.
Well, I mean, you know, going back to saying, I didn't really know him, right? We'd crossed paths a few times on this and that, right? And
was he like your direct boss? Was he like on site, whoever? Or...
Yeah. So in the setup in the school was we had a classroom, like an old science classroom that a lot of you probably remember, with the wooden sides around the edge, the wooden tops around the edge, and the big curvy taps. Literally one of those classrooms. We just had one of those, and that was our base. And it was me, George, and this girl called Sarah, who'd come from a flower arranging background. Oh, so the project here, if you want to Google the project, if you put in George Lamb Grow, the project is called Grow. And I smashed it, not gonna lie, absolutely smashed it. We got full funding from Sadiq Khan.
Oh, nice.
We did loads of events and stuff, like raised loads of money. Absolutely smashed it. He basically brought me in to get his thing off the ground, and it worked. But I'd done it with a friend of mine from Derby as well. Like, So there's a
So you were doing like the media and marketing for it as well as doing the beekeeping.
Yeah, basically, yeah. While I was working for him, the title that I had was creative director, and I bragged that
Right.
one in 'cause I thought it was hilarious, but he went with it.
You're the creative director of George Lamb's Bee Project. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Until they got all the money, and then they dropped me off. I tell you, in fact, you know what? I've literally just remembered something. Here you go. This George Lamb story goes even deeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when around the first time I met George, so George has got a mate who's got like a load of flats in a brand new high rise in Shoreditch, right? So I get invited to this posh high rise fucking flat place in Shoreditch. The guy at the bottom won't let me in to begin
Okay.
with. Like I've told him I'm here for like George said, yeah, he knows you come in, all this, wouldn't let me in to begin with. And then go up, and then George starts grilling me, right? George starts grilling me about everything. And at this point, I think I'd been sacked from another job, didn't have much money, all of this, but George is super nice. He's super nice to me, super nice. And he agrees to like give me some money to tide me over, right? Great, fantastic. He's giving me a job, I can pay it all back, right? All of this, So he sacked me the first time. I'm going to say this is 6 weeks after we started because he said I wasn't doing enough work.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I wasn't. I think I probably was, but anyway.
But it sounds like if you're doing all the marketing to get the funding in, once they've got the funding in, that's it, right? You're done.
Well, this is what it looked like.
Time to kick you out.
Yeah. Afterwards, it sort of looked like, well, I've got you up there, and you pissed me off or whatever. And then the second time, so he sat me once, rings me up, shouts at me at like 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, and goes, "What the fuck am I paying you for?" All of this stuff.
Oh man.
And then managed to bag him up, and then carry it on for another few months, I think. Then what did he say me for the second time? I can't remember. I think he said I have communication issues, which I'll take. I'll take. No problem. But then he wants his money back, right?
What, he wants your wages back?
So he gave me a bit
because he
he
gave you some money to get you on your feet. Yeah.
Right. And at this point, I was just like, I'm going to ignore him. He threatens to send bailiffs to my door.
Well, if it was a gift, you can't bailiff for a gift, right? If someone's down on their luck and you give them some money, you can't bailiff for that.
I did almost want to say to him, you're very silly because you've bank transferred me the money.
Yeah.
You cannot bring your bank and you can't go to a debt collector and say, this is the stupid thing. I'm dealing with bailiffs and this guy's coming and saying, Anyway, rubbish story. But he's an idiot, but I did get to do beekeeping.
So swings and roundabouts.
There you go. And what is even better is it gave me the opportunity to come on the night hole. Here you go.
Do you know what I mean? That's your silver lining.
Yes, it's him. So this is actually footage that I probably took.
Were you on site? Were you likely to have been here on this video?
Think this is me holding the camera.
Oh, right.
Oh.
I think. Yeah. In fact, I'm confident to say, yeah, that's me holding the camera.
Amazing.
It is.
Look at these blazers. They're not good. What a horrible school colour. Wow.
So the school was rough as fuck. That was the story. And then George comes in and whitewashes it all and turns it into fucking amazing this and that but it's just not. They ain't got it. They haven't got a clue. They haven't got a clue how to deal with working people. They just don't know. Yeah. George thinks he's got the answers. I don't even know why he thinks he has, because he's done an ayahuasca retreat and he's done this and rah. but it's I've been in London like a decade, and they're all the same. All these kind of people are the same. These George Lamb character types. They're all the same. They're all the same. They think they've got the answers. Bloody rubbish. Anyway, going down the bloody serious route.
But remember, not only did this get you on the night hole, but you absolutely smashed your first night hole appearance with a top tier beekeeping story.
This has been brilliant.
It's good to know. It's good to know. I wasn't sure. You talk about bees. I was like, I could.
You're
really
like, this
come in
is
and
my
say something
chance.
here.
This is
But
it.
I didn't want to disrupt. And do you know what? As well, this is the other thing. Like, I'm a lurker. I'm a proper lurker, right? And I'm in the Discord all the time. But I love your Discord so much. Like, honestly, it is such a place of solid. It's sick. It's sick, and everyone in it is sick. It's just, yeah, I love it. It's so good. But I'm a lurker. And you know what? Actually, I'm called Sandal, Sandall, in the Discord now, because in another Discord they made me change my name from Dominic Cummings, and I didn't want to, but I had to do it.
You got forced out of here, Dominic Cummings. You just can't catch a break, can you?
This is it. But hopefully, Nighthole now gives me the. I don't even know if confidence is the right word, but to be able to contribute to the Discord. I'll tell you what with the Discord though. Like, I'm 30. I think I'm the same age as you, right? Mm-hmm. But Discord. But by the time I've thought of a response, the thing has moved on. Like 10 pages. I'm like,
we're quite chatty in there. If anyone else is watching the stream and lurking, this is where you can find our Discord. And please do, Dominic Cummings or Sandor or whoever you'd rather be known. In fact, can we get, please, a TYDC in the chat for thank you, Dominic Cummings?
No, bless you. Honestly, bless all you lot. You lot are sick. And there was shout outs. Sharble Garble, sick. Like, with all the blender stuff and the puppet stuff. Like, I love it. It's so sick.
Insane talent.
Yeah, that all of the other streams that are like related to this. I love it. It's sick. And Jade, who doesn't do fucking streams, but he's like constantly on all the tech stuff. I find that fascinating. I love it.
Yeah, Jade's on another level. Jade's a complete tech witch.
You lot are mad, honestly. And going back to like the very beginning, like when I seen ETN, I was like, rah!
So what was your wait? You didn't know any of us, and you found ETN somehow. That must have been a trip.
Somehow, I managed to find the ETN trailer before ETN episode 1.
Wow.
ETN found its way into my. And the thing is, I ain't even really on social media either. I don't really do it, but somehow it found its way into my thing. And I seen the trailer. I was like, this is it. This is the one. Watch the first episode. Should have contributed. I should have joined in on the episode 1 because I would have got a place amongst the team, but I didn't. I was too scared, so I didn't. I waited until episode 2 and then ended up doing it on my own. And then it was a disaster. I never played again. But I watched every episode.
Wow. You even watched it all the way to the end of season 2?
Literally, watched every episode.
Wow.
And, you were talking about, I'm on the Discord, I think, like, your Morl on demands. Like, I was going through them as well, like, to begin with. So King Morl, like, I catched up on King Morl.
Oh, wow.
So then Morlcraft, I watched all of Morlcraft. Yeah, well, you're better than TV.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. Like,
Dominic Cummings super fan.
This is it. You see why I was a little bit hesitant to say anything, because I feel like I'm slightly obsessed. You and Foxdog and everything. I think it's so good. I love it all.
Well, yeah, you've found a weirdo corner of the internet, and I'm glad you're having a good time. And I hope you find the confidence to say hi a bit more often, because I will. All very friendly.
I think I will now. Like, I don't know. I don't know. you're evidently such a welcoming community. I don't know why I've ever felt that thing of, do you know what it is? I feel like I just see it as just such a well glued community. I feel like I'd be diving in the middle and potentially disrupting that. Because this is the thing. It's one of these things where we'd probably never cross paths in the real world ever. But this little corner, like you say, is, I love it. I love it. I think it's perfect. But
I
we're
think
almost on that opposite ends of the universe, you know?
I think a lot of us here would never have crossed paths. I mean, I wouldn't even be streaming if it wasn't for the pandemic. I was purely just doing live comedy.
Well, this is it with this is one of the things I somehow managed to join that wave as you were doing it and noticed that you lot were doing this whole thing. Well, we can't do comedy on stage, so let's do it this way. And manipulating Twitch the way that you have, I think, has been amazing. I love it. I love it. I tell you what else as well.
Yeah,
like what you lot have made me realise. Bear in mind, I've been working in like telly and media for the past 10 years, right? You lot made me think about what comedy is. Like,
okay.
Like sort of, I don't know, reevaluate it sort of thing. Like the North Wave thing. It's totally the North Wave thing. Something sort of clicked when I seen you lot doing what you were doing. It's like, wow. I left Derby to go to London to chase the dream because it was sold to me such a way. You get there and you go, actually, I probably could have just stuck around up north and made communities up there, just like exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, you would have made an awful lot less money though. I think.
Oh, fuck them. Honestly, I've been poor for the majority. I've been middle class for about 2 years. Well,
I can tell you something. It's a lot cheaper to be poor up north.
I tell you, this is the stupid thing though. I'd love to buy a house up north, but I've boxed myself in by coming to London and getting into the self-employed creative industry. So now I'm like boxed. I can't buy a house up north.
You get stuck in London. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like loads of my friends are comedians, so I'd say like half of them went to London, and then maybe 20% of that half came back, and then you get stuck in this thing where you're like, oh, I need to make something work in London, but it means you can't have any savings, so you're stuck in this London cycle. Very hard to get out of it.
Yeah, it's bonkers, and I don't regret anything, but at the same time, I feel like I fully bought into a bit of a con when I was a teenager, sort of thing, just right before the financial crash, and then moved to London just as the financial crash had hit, and expected everything to be the same, and it wasn't really. But
that wasn't your fault. Like if you'd gone like just 3 or 4 years earlier, you would have had a different experience.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And it was everyone saying, like, no one was telling you to like pause for a few years and see how the crash was going. Everyone was like, go to uni, move to where the jobs are, go get a job. And it was like, that promise doesn't make any sense anymore because the entire world was about to start the Great Recession. So people have ended up just committing to like things in their life, and then they don't know that there's going to be like a decade of austerity after that.
It's just bonkers. And I mean, I suppose, you know, there's no way you could have. I mean, my family still don't get it. My family still think I'd be better off working in the NHS, right, and all of that sort of business. But yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. But at the same time, I've got to this point now, like being in London for a decade, and I see what you guys have done. You, Foxdog, Jane, all of that, like all of you lot. There's too many to even mention, and I see that, and I'm just like, wow, I feel like I've got to almost the same point that you lot have. You lot seem to be realising everything you're doing, and you found this little thing that you're doing. I feel like I've got to the same place. but I've gone like round the loop 10 times
Mm.
and then gone sort of thing. Not to say that, we're not doing the same thing, but I'm sure you understand sort of what I'm saying in terms of trying to realize living, not working in a factory or in public
Do you know what I mean?
sector.
Working for yourself, or especially working in creative. I feel like it's a 30s thing. You get to your 30s and you're like, I cannot be arsed running around in circles for other people. Like,
Yeah.
let's just put up shop here and sell what I can do to people and make that work.
This is it. I mean, so I feel like I keep talking about myself, but I suppose I am the guest. So
You're the guest and you know yourself better than anyone else, so you should start from that.
This is it. Well, I mean, honestly, when I was at home in Derby over Christmas, whatever, got back to London on New Year's Day, and I wrote a list of things that I wanted to smash out in the next few weeks, and like one of them was email Sean Morley. Like,
oh yeah,
email Sean Morley. I just wanted to tell you these things. Basically, I just wanted to say, you know me as Dominic Cummings. I didn't mean to become Dominic Cummings, but I did. But
how did that happen? Why did you become Dominic Cummings?
So it obviously I didn't really do Twitch. Like I watched Limmy a few times.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't really do Twitch until you lot started doing it. So then you lot started doing it, and then after a few weeks, I was like, "Oh, I need to make a Twitch account." And it was when Dominic Cummings had drove to Bernard Castle. It was like literally that day, I think. So I was just like, "Fuck it, I'll do Dominic Cummings." It's what I do with any online account. I just make the account name in whatever, and it's horrendous because I can never get back into anything. But it wasn't. Usually these things just last a few weeks and then disappear. But obviously we're like however many months down the line, like well over a year, and I'm still watching your streams and Foxdog streams like whenever they're out. So I'm still Dominic Cummings. But as I said, I joined like a trendy Discord the other day, and they were like, "You're not Dominic Cummings, or are you? You're not
A
Dominic
trendy
Cummings,
Discord where you
you're
can't pretend to be Dominic Cummings."
It's like a trendy like music thing with like loads of new artists and producers, and you have to introduce yourself. And I was like, "Oh, I know my name's Dominic Cummings on here, but it's because I don't use it much." And they're like, "Yeah, you can't really be on here if you don't use your proper name." I was like, "Fuck, all right, whatever." So I changed it. So I'm Sandal, Ben Sandal. That's my real name, government name.
Wow, fully
Whoa.
doxed. Welcome, Ben.
Dominic Cummings' identity reveal.
You won't find nothing on me. I'm not on social media. Really,
You're a ghost, off grid. You're out with the bees, up a hill.
Yeah,
Chatting to the bees.
I just can't. I find myself not being able to post on social media. I find it so cringe. I can't post nothing.
Honestly, saying anything ever is cringe, so I'm fully with you.
Isn't it? Literally, yeah. Just want to dig myself a hole. That's literally it. But the one of the other things, what I wanted to put on the bottom of the email was, I just wanted to offer my help is not the right word, but I see you doing all the Blender things, and you do these projects like you've done Z Machine and More Vision fucking 2 and all this. I'd love to, if you need stuff making, promos, fucking graphics, anything, like little bits and pieces, little animations, I'd love to help. But I suppose with More Vision, I will be taking part. So
that's good.
I might not have time, but I would just love to help with any of your projects. I'd just love to, if I can, just give a hand.
Yeah, I'd love it because I'm actually looking to be the palace of streamers, and I've heard that you know how to make that happen.
I think you've already way achieved that. I remember someone. It might have been Sharble Garble. Someone said After Effects is like witchcraft or something. Right? Someone said something like After Effects is this and that. But you lot are talking codes like it's fluent. But I can do After Effects. After Effects makes sense to me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Does that sort of make sense? I don't know why. I don't know code at all. I can't code anything. But After Effects, I can use.
You might be the only person here who can. Then I never got my head around it properly. So yeah, now that you've offered, I may ask for an occasional thing.
Oh, please do. Like anything, honestly, anything at all. A lot of a lot of what I do day to day, like fucking bread making or whatever, is making social media content for pop stars, like literal pop stars.
That's really funny.
Which is just money, isn't it? It's just rent, but it's
Yeah.
making stuff for Sting and the Police and the Spice Girls and like Rita Ora, right?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing, right? So whatever. But if you want shit, if you want anything, I've just discovered grease pencil on Blender, which is blowing my mind at the minute. Where you
I've
can
been
draw...
watching tutorials about it. It looks amazing.
Oh my god, it's so sick. I can't draw, but to be able to go in and draw in a 3D space is amazing. It's sick because you can just draw a house with like lines. You don't need to be able to draw. Like, I can't draw at all. But to be able to create things in that 3D space is lovely. It's sick. And it's sort of like all this geometry node stuff that I see you like talking about a little bit. Like I'm trying to learn about that. It's sick.
I'm real super new on Blender. I need to just put the time aside properly. I find that I learn a lot of software through putting them in the streams somehow. So when I get good enough that we can make anything in Blender, there'll be a Blender stream.
Wait, this is it. I feel like I learned so much through you lot just like doing stuff. I keep saying you lot. I feel like that's a bit rude, but you know what?
I like it. I think it's good. But
sorry,
once you start, soon you'll be one of you lot as well, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. But this is it. With when you were doing the donut tutorial, like, and I've watched that tutorial so many times myself, and I haven't got loads of 3D knowledge, but I come from a Cinema 4D background, right, which is like a bit of niche 3D software that I was told was the one about 10 years ago, and it's just not. It's redundant.
Yeah.
And Blender's the one. So seeing you not do all Blender, it made me go back into Blender, and I had to almost start from the beginning. Like I've got a little bit of 3D knowledge, but not much. But I was doing the donut tutorial. Do you know what I mean? And doing all that, and like going back through the early steps, like watching Shovel Gobble's things like a few months ago when she was doing the CGI puppet. I ain't even gonna go and do the CGI puppet, but just to be able to see it is amazing. Incredible. Just remembered another thing as well. See, I'm so obsessed with your streams. You were talking about writing an adventure game, weren't you?
I want to make a text adventure. In fact, I have the program. I don't know if you can see the stream right now, but I have the software right here.
It's that Ink software, isn't it?
Yeah, from Ink Studios.
Yeah. As soon as you did that, I did the same thing. I went and downloaded it and had a look at it, and I haven't used it at all, but I looked at it and I thought, yeah, because this is it. So yeah, during the pandemic, I was like, well, I'm gonna make games. I'm gonna learn how to do it. I'm gonna do it, and didn't get incredibly far, but I did download. Do you know Visionaire?
I don't.
There's a piece of software called Visionaire, and it's basically a game engine designed to make point-and-click adventure games.
Right.
It's incredibly simple to use, and there's a free trial which I used to make a really basic point-and-click adventure game. And I set it in Derby, right? And and you land in the marketplace.
Sharble will like that. She loves stuff set where people live.
Yorkshire Gubbins. Bob.
Right, nice.
Yorkshire Gubbins, like it all coincided. Honestly, like there's so much happened during that like pandemic thing, that period, the past like sort of 12-18 months. I was like, yes, the most inspiring shit ever. But yeah, Yorkshire Gubbins, I seen that. I was like, wow, I can do that. I know I can do it. I know I can do it. Obviously, I can't do it, but I found Visionaire. I did make. I can't even show it to you at all, can I? But I did make.
How's Visionaire spelled? I just want to Google it.
It's. Vision, and then two N's and AIRE, I think.
Oh, that's why I looked, but there's a few things called that. I'll look at Visionaire point and click.
Visionaire Studio.
Ah, yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Deponia was made with this. Okay.
There's a few things that I've seen about that have been made with it. It's incredibly simple, and the tutorials, it's because it's essentially a 2D engine. It's so easy to just make your textures and make your characters, animate your characters over like 10 frames and just smash them straight in. That is so easy. But it just gave me a bit of a intro. But when you were saying I want to write my own adventure game, I was like, yes, that's something that I would love to. Sorry.
That's okay.
Involved in.
Yeah, I also would love to make games, but I know it's an absolute nightmare. But I think maybe one day, because obviously a text adventure might be one of the simplest things you could make. But if it were to be expanded from that, I think there's enough skill sets of people here that like the way to actually make a game would be to like slowly turn the Discord into a little studio and just plug people in somehow. But I'm a long way off of anything like that. That sounds like another ridiculous idea.
I've seen the vision as well. I've seen the vision of turning the Discord into a little studio. Believe me. The thing is, yeah, with games, so I'm not a massive gamer. Like, I've played Disco Elysium. Like I didn't dare say anything on the stream in case of spoilers, but like I bought Disco Elysium and played it, loved it. Like I'm not a massive gamer at all. I've never owned a PS4. I've still got a PS3 in my house. In fact, it's right next to me. I was playing Skate 3 on it earlier, I think. But I'm not a gamer at all. But coming from not the film industry, TV, broadcast, branded content sort of thing, the past few years, I was like, right, games seem the best opportunity and the best way to be able to actually tell proper stories, like engaging experiences, like properly, right? There is no point trying to go and get a 6-part commissioned by BBC Three or a short funded by BFI. There's no point. Like it's so saturated. And I don't know nothing about the games industry either, but in my head, the games industry isn't as saturated yet that if you were to bring out something that's sick and stands out, that you're more likely to get eyes on it. Obviously,
I think, compared to trying to get something on BBC Three where you need a dozen people with different opinions to say yes just to allow you to do something, there is still enough of a space in indie games that you can make something and you're still playing a massive lottery. But I think there's something more democratized there. But I'm talking, there are people here who've worked more formally in games than I have that could tell me that's completely wrong.
But this is it. This is the other thing I was going to say. Is that I know full well that I'm talking to an audience of people who've actually worked in games and everything and done that, and they probably have the same grievances with the game industry that I've probably got with getting music videos commissioned or whatever. It's probably the same thing. From my really limited point of view, trying to design and make a game seems like it's something I'd love to do in the future. I've been writing for maybe about a year, trying to theorize a game that's based around going walking in the countryside, essentially. But just trying to build mechanics, come up with mechanics that mirror the same experiences you have when you go out into the Peak District or something, for example.
That sounds good.
I was talking to someone about it, and they mentioned the what's the moving game that you were talking about a few months ago. There's a moving game, isn't there? The packing game, sorry. The boxing.
Unpacking.
Yeah, the packing game, which I haven't played, but I read so much amazing stuff about it.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
There's like 20,000 different samples of materials being placed on other materials, like the foley is out of this world.
This is it. I've heard such good things about it. But it's that whole taking something that might seem totally mundane and actually turning that into the actual experience that it is, sort of thing, you know? Which is the same thing, packing up a room. Why are these kids still on the screen?
Do you not want the kids on the screen?
No, absolutely.
Just trying to put something interesting in the background.
I haven't been looking at the screen for ages. What have you been building?
It hasn't been all this all the time. I was looking at a few other things. I could get some. I'll just bring up some bees, I think.
That's all right. I wish I could remember his name. So he took me to. There's a thing in Stoke Newington in London that they call the castle, but it's not a castle. It's like an old power plant. Oh.
I think I've heard of that, and isn't it used as like a climbing facility
Yes,
now?
I knew someone would have heard about it. Yeah, it's a really strange place that I'd never been before, and I'd lived around that area for a few years, and I didn't know it was there. Yeah, it's a massive building. They call it the castle, but it is. It's an old power station that they put a climbing wall in. But that bloke in the video, is he still there?
Oh, well, I can bring him back.
That's all right. We don't need to see him. But yeah, he that runs that. That guy's also like a bee priest or something. He's like next level.
What?
He's like,
that's not like a formal title, is it?
No, but it's he's like next level with bees. Like he can control them with his mind and all sorts.
Wow, I'm glad you had him on site.
Well, you know, I got sacked, so I never got to see him again.
Should we hunt
Get
him
him to
down?
set the bees on George Lamb.
Would you want to meet this guy again? Should we try and make it happen?
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to.
We can make this happen. I don't think I should hunt him down on stream because that feels like it would dox the guy. But I bet we could find him. London Bee Priests. Just go straight to the directory. Yellow pages.
London Bee Priest. I mean, just doing like phantom bee swarm catching at midnight in London on a stream would be incredible.
If you look up London Bee Priest, it takes you to this guy.
There's probably a reality show here you can flip to someone about phantom bee catching.
Yeah, I think so. There hasn't been enough beekeeping on TV. Oh, this guy was the priest of Saint Bees. Did you know there's a Saint Bees?
No.
Saint Bees is a parish.
Saint Bees?
Saint Bees, yeah, it's a place. Saint Bees is a popular holiday destination due to the coastline. In the village of Saint Bees, dating from 1120, and Saint Bees School, founded in 1583. It's a really old settlement. Saint Bees. Yeah.
What?
I really like that the third point on the table of contents is Saint Bees Man.
Yeah, let's find out what Saint Bees Man is. It was people have been living in Saint Bees since the Bronze Age.
What's the etymology of bees?
I don't know.
Is it can I name my firstborn bees?
The earliest charter was Kirkby Beacock, which can be translated as the town church of Bega relating to Saint Bega, and then Bega must have become bees. In 1981, an archaeological excavation at the Priory revealed a vault with a lead coffin containing an astonishingly well-preserved body, now known as the Saint Bees Man. He has been identified as Anthony de Lucy, a knight who died in 1368 in the Teutonic Crusades in Lithuania. Although the body is over 600 years old, his nails, skin, and stomach contents are in near perfect condition.
What was in his stomach?
Wow.
Probably broth.
The broth was still drinkable when they unearthed the body.
Yeah, you can still eat the contents of his stomach. That's a joke. Please don't.
Why was it in such good condition? Surely there should be a reason, like he was buried in cling film or something.
He was buried in lead. They buried him in lead, which...
Oh, I see.
I guess is probably because he was a decorated knight. They put him in what was a valuable metal. But yeah, it kept him... St. Bees looks pretty charming, I have to say. Lovely old hilled roads. Look at this. St. Bees Head.
I've got a fun bees linguistics fact about the dance that they do.
Yeah, go for it.
Here we go.
This was one of the things I learned about in like the first week of my linguistics degree, and sadly I can't access the book that the original study is from because it is in my physical university library, and I'm not going to go there during a night hole. But oh yeah, okay. In one experiment, a hive of bees was placed at the foot of a radio tower and a food source placed at the top. 10 bees were taken to the top, given a taste of the food, and sent off to tell the rest of the hive about their find. The message was conveyed via a bee dance, and the whole gang buzzed off to get the free food. They flew around in all directions, but couldn't locate the food. The problem seems to be that bee communication has a fixed set of signals for communicating location, and they all relate to horizontal distance. The bee cannot manipulate its communication system to create a new message indicating vertical distance. According to Carl von Frisch, who conducted the experiment, the bees have no word for up in their language, and they can't invent one.
Hang on. Then how can you raise bees on a rooftop? Because most flowers are at ground level.
Talk to Bez.
Oh yeah, Bez is the bee guy. Which in fact was referenced in ETN Season 1.
Oh, it was. It actually was, wasn't it?
Yeah, we made a bee Bez.
Cillian said you were with the bees on the roof. I thought instantly, I was like, oh, Bez has got some bees on the roof.
Bez has got bees on the roof. I bet there'll be some YouTube footage of that.
It's just going to be planters, isn't it? As long as you've got enough
hanging baskets,
flowers and plants for the bees to enjoy, it doesn't really matter, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I remember being told consistently, like, how bad it is that so many people keep getting beehives, but they're not planting enough flowers and stuff to complement that. You're putting all these bees in certain areas, and they haven't got the bits and pieces they need. That was one of the biggest things I remember being told about the poor bees.
There's no footage of Bez beekeeping, just podcasts he's been on where he talks about it. He's never filmed it.
That's a shame.
But it does bring up this BEZ hive inspection. Good background. I know about a bee experiment, if that's what we're talking about. Some scientists wanted to know if bees have an understanding of time. So they got a hive and they put out some sugar water near the hive at like 9 a.m. every day. And one day they would not put it out and see if the bees still came out looking for it to work out if the bees knew a certain time of the day and would like get used to it. And they did the experiment. They said, okay, we think bees know what time is. And then some other scientists said, no, they're probably responding to the sun. So they don't know what time is. They're just responding to like the light. So they put the bees in a box and saw if they still did it, and they did. But then someone said, oh, it could still be the heat from the sun. And then they raised a new swarm of bees, but in a cave. And then it got to the point where they did it, but then someone put the beehive on a plane, and then that plane went west so that the bees would get confused about the relationship of the sun to the time of day, to see if it really was the sun or like geomagnetic relationships to the time of day, or whether they know what time is. And bees know what time is.
I love imagining the risk assessment that they must have had to do to get bees on a plane.
I don't think it would have been like a commercial. Wouldn't have been like in the luggage hold.
Still involves a risk assessment.
It would involve a risk assessment, absolutely. The pilot would have needed to be informed.
Well, there's a business model. I don't think it happens in the UK, but certainly in America, people will have a big lorry, whatever, a truck, with the bees on the back, and they'll just drive round, let all the bees out. The bees will go out and pollinate, and then they'll get the bees back on the hives on the truck, and then they'll just carry on, and they'll keep doing that because obviously farmers, agricultural people, they ain't got enough bees to be pollinating. So it's not a plane, but they are enslaving bees and forcing them to do what they want.
I have heard about this. Rent-a-bees.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's a real thing.
How does it work? Do you pay do they go around, let the bees loose, and then go knock on the farm and go, that's 50 quid? Or is it like when people when people clean the front mirror of your car when you're stopped, and then they say, I've cleaned that now, can I have £20? No, I was just stopped. I didn't. Your house is covered in bees now. That's £50.
The old school window cleaners. They'd clean your windows, put your ladders up, then come around the door and go, yeah, 20 quid, please.
Your terraced family house is swarming with bees. I know how to get them back on the truck, but will you make it worth my while?
I imagine it's a day rate for the bee lorry slave drivers, potentially.
Yeah. Can you come round?
I reckon, because you can't guarantee what time the bees are going to do their business in.
Right, yeah.
I reckon. I think you can give it a rough time frame, but it's within a few hours potentially.
Yeah. Can I get the bees for a half day in April?
Maybe we should try and book a bee lorry.
Shall I look up now? How to book a bee lorry?
Yeah. Pollination services.
Rent a bee van. Pollination services. It's a much better search term than rent a bee van. Not really got me anywhere. Pollination services, bee rental. Let's limit searches to the UK.
We need to rent a bee lorry, tell all the bees that George Lamb's a dick.
Bees
and then they will know.
In a van.
Or the other one we could do to attempt to take over the world is grow worms.
Tell me more how that gets us the world.
Worms are. So before I did the beekeeping, a couple of years before that,
you were a worm guy.
No, I never qualified to worm guy. But before I did that, I've helped a mate run these allotment projects in Derby for a few years. But like before we did that, we started going around the Midlands, meeting all these agricultural people. And there's a lady in Nottingham called Anna de la Vega, and she's worm queen. And she absolutely swears by worms being the be all and end all of everything. She loves worms. Her whole thing is like making worm farms out of wheelie bins, right? What's it called? There's Anna de la Vega. It's called something. There she is. That's it. You heard the second picture in the green coat. So it's called some urban worm. That's what it's called, urban worm. So worms will clean anything, right? Like absolutely anything. Anything that a worm can go through, they'll clean. Human shit, basically, is the pinnacle of that, right? And she basically sells the idea that you buy these bins, you grow worms, and you spread the worms, and the worms do most of the work to retaining the bringing back the topsoil level. Like
worms make soil fertile again.
Essentially, worms can undo the damage that industrialization has done. Essentially, in quite a short amount of time. But you've got to grow the worms. You've got to have like millions of worms.
Yeah, you need to have enough worms.
Sort of like loads of wheelie bins full of worms. But between bees and worms, we can sort it out.
Maybe
Have
we
you
could
ever
make
seen how worms reproduce? Because it doesn't look great.
Say again.
Have you ever seen how worms reproduce?
I don't think so.
You know the thick ridge, like the thick bit on a worm?
Oh yeah.
That's sort of where it all happens. Like, Sean, please
Oh.
pull up an image for the stream.
if I find a video.
No, it's
A
good.
video. I don't know how active the process it is.
I'm hoping for a what are those? Time lapse.
It's good. It's good to know what that bit of a worm does.
Yeah, it's the reproduction zone.
The reproduction zone.
I do
Ready for
remember
sale,
hearing
sifting
that-
for eggs, feeding and growing.
Sifting for eggs.
Worm eggs. Let's just skip ahead to... I don't think he's going to show him.
I don't think they do
Fucking-
it in this video.
No. It is fun watching these trays of slithering worms, though.
I think there's a picture on the Wikipedia page for the earthworm.
Earthworm Wikipedia reproduction.
I just remember we bowled up to Worm Woman's shed in Nottingham. It's just in like a field, and she was just straight on it straight away. Like she burst out the door and was like, "Worms are the best thing ever. They're going to save the world." Rah, rah. And she was writing all these facts at me.
Oh,
like,
that's the
worms-
image.
Worms can do everything. I was like, "Yes, sold." Oh, there you go.
I don't like it.
I think that's amazing.
It's interesting, you know, like the ridge thing we're talking about. I thought they touch ridges, but they don't.
So there's also a myth about cutting a worm in half and it growing back.
Oh, is that not true?
There is a certain point in a worm's life cycle where it can grow back, but generally you shouldn't be chopping.
Generally,
worms
if you chop it in half, they die.
Yeah,
like most
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I think maybe when it's quite young, it can sort of, if you chop it off at a decent point, it can regrow.
Chop it off early enough and it won't die.
Yeah. But you just got to spread the worms around. If you get a pile of leaves in your garden and you're like trying to get rid of the leaves and there's loads of worms in it, you've got to take the worms out and like chuck them around your garden and like spread them around. Get the worms everywhere, apparently.
I'll get worms anywhere I can.
Yeah. Exactly.
Spray them around through a hose.
Worm hose.
You said it.
That would be amazing.
Look at this guy weighing the worms.
Yeah. I've been hanging around with these environmentalists for a few years, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've definitely bought into it at points. I've definitely bought into it at points and gone, yes, this is it, right? I've been down the allotment in Derby, yeah, and you get like a road kid, right, who's doesn't really give a shit about anything. You get him on the allotment, and he sees a yellow courgette for the first time in his life, and his mind is blown. And he sees a sweet corn, right? Incredible, amazing. But then these guys try and essentially scale up because they're looking at it as a business model rather than like a community thing, right? So like, how can we scale up? And at every point that I've seen these people try to do it, Anna included, George Lamb, I've got more examples as well. It just seems to flop. You end up spilling out because you need support. You need support, so you have to take on corporate interests. And as a result of that,
to get more money in order to scale up, you need investment. This is why these things shouldn't be businesses, right? Like these urban community farms are so good. I've seen people start up these small farming projects, even if it's just like looking after a few patches of land and bringing in like some kids from like poor schools to do it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But the moment you want to start scaling that up, they're like, what are you going to be doing? Like, because if you're given money as a charity by like a local authority, then the schools can just come and access it. But if you're a business, what are you be doing? Asking like some of the most underfunded schools that they got to pay you in order to like plant a parsnip. That means they're not going to be able to. That means it's only going to be the richer schools that can even access that. Then it can't scale up.
Yeah, 100%. It becomes the thing of where you're dictating value onto things that you weren't before. It's a very strange space. A friend of mine that I went to school with, like literally, I've known him since I was about 10, and he worked for Rolls-Royce in Derby, like building airplane engines, and he had a bit of a brainwave. He was like, well, no, I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm going to start an environmental project, which he did, and I helped him do it for like 3 years, and it went amazing. It went really well. We got on the news and in the papers and all this, and this was basically by getting an allotment space and inviting everyone we could onto the allotment space, like pub lads, everything we could, right? And it went really, really well. But we got the attention of Tim Smith from the Eden Project,
right?
As well as a lot of other sort of high-profile environmentalist sort of people.
I think he was once on a list of Cornwall's sexiest people by Cornwall Live.
I'm not surprised. He's like king of Cornwall. Like, he's a vampire. I'm sure he is. Like, but as soon as he got involved, like my mate Jamie, he was one of the COP26, right, and all this stuff, right. Like, he went right up there. But then some of my other environmentalist mates, Springwatch. Do we watch Springwatch? So Cillian Burke, who's off Springwatch, she's one of the presenters on Springwatch. So I talked to her quite a lot, chatting to her about Tim Smith, and she's like, no, he's a devil. He's connected to all the wrong things. His money comes from the wrong places. Like, he's not it. And this is just the same pattern that I keep seeing with environmentalists. George Lamb again. Like, as soon as things get a little bit pushed to shove, they turn into business demons, right? It's capital, obviously, because you have an amazing idea, you have an amazing project, you're seeing amazing results. And then the only way for that bit of beauty to live is to monetize it and to extrude the value out of it and all that. It's bonkers. It's bonkers because you're
and
seeing...
it just means that somewhere downstream of that money, something somewhere is going to get rinsed, and it just creates a new problem that someone else will try to create a charity to solve, and then they'll scale it up and then rinse something else. You're just sort of displacing what the issue is. Yeah,
and even more recently, what has even cemented it even more is a lot of these. So, does everyone remember parkour being a big thing about 15 years ago?
Parkour's still big in my heart. I love seeing someone jumping on a railing.
So there's, so do we know Tim Sheath? He was a big vegan for a while, but he was like a parkour guy, right? He ain't
Parkour
the vegan. he started a company called Ethics, whatever. He's like a big fucking. He does Ninja Warrior, right, and all this shit, right. Super environmentalist, super fucking health person, right. All this. He's selling fucking NFTs, bro. It's like,
well, you know, the World Wildlife Federation, the German World Wildlife Federation is selling NFTs, and they're using the profits of the NFTs to like conserve animals that are having their habitats destroyed by environmental breakdown, which now is going to be caused by the NFTs.
they're funding it via Ethereum, which costs.
They're funding it by funding it.
It's bonkers. Honestly, it's absolutely bonkers. I don't get it at all.
The way that like charities operate under, well, capitalism is just kind of baloney. I've been reading loads about how much foreign aid just goes back to the UK. So like, it's called Boomerang Aid, and the idea is like you go, okay, there's been a famine in this area in sub-Saharan Africa, so we need to send money out there so that people don't die en masse. And who are we going to give it to support the relief? Well, how about my brother's private firm? So you're just giving it to someone else who like lives down the road from you, but a lot of the transactions are just taking place in another continent, and all the money just goes right back to the UK.
It's bonkers. It's unreal.
It's just impossible to like. It's impossible to like solve a complex social problem when like the organizations involved need to turn a profit. It just those two things just don't compute at all.
But this is the other thing as well. Like, not with the environmentalists through the past decade, going through media, all the white blokes who are running all these companies, right? That you come across whenever you have any of these guys love capitalism because they think the competitiveness is great. But for you to solve your issues, they want you to go to a breathing class, right? So you That's George Lamb, yeah? George Lamb sent me to a breathing class. He sent me for a massage.
What was he trying to solve? Did he like identify that you had problems? Was he like, I don't like this guy, he can't breathe properly?
He basically, I was like anxiety ridden because I was super poor and had been living in London for like sort of 5-6 years on a basic income, thinking I was living the dream, but I was actually just surviving.
And it's like, you need to breathe differently.
Opportunity. You know what? It's not even just George Lamb. These types of people, those people, they see people who are struggling and they love to be able to help. And it just so turns out that at this point, the way to help people is it's environmentalism now. It's like, get outside, go and do this, go and do that, blah, blah, blah. But the crux of it is, why haven't you got money? That's essentially, That's essentially it. That's what it comes down to. It's like, well, what's your problem? Why
if you fixed your diaphragm, money would flow to me, just like money flowed to me when I inherited loads of wealth from my parents. That's because of my diaphragm.
Oh, honestly, it's bonkers. And with the environmental stuff, like I think it's such an amazing opportunity for working people, especially, to take a little bit of control is not the right word. Maybe sovereignty might be, but like have a little bit control of things. Like if you've got an allotment that you know you've got 3 or 4, 5 mates who are also helping you do it, and that's got like a few basic provisions on it: lettuce, tomatoes, courgettes, blah, and you can keep that going for a few years. That's incredible.
That's a kind of freedom, right? Because no one, you have some soil, and no one's mediating what you can do with it. You just make food come out of the floor, and then you have that. Then
this is it. But then, and in this day and age, I look at that and I think, that's amazing. And then you think, all right, so where I'm from in Derby, a little village called Alistry, right? Up until like the 60s, it was like it's like a post-war estate. Up until that, it was just farmland, right? Farmland essentially owned by gentry, right? And there's like 2, 3 big houses in the area. 2 of them are like decrepit now. One of them still stands, but they would give their peasant workers like a strip of land to like live off, right? It was a thing, right? And we're back there. We're like, yes, thank you for my 30 square meter piece of land that I can put tomatoes on.
Thank you for, after like decades of asking for this, I now have less land than a peasant would have had.
Literally, because it's like the point that you're obviously trying to get to is that if enough of us do this, and one of the other things that when we're running these allotment projects, what we managed to get people to do was before white lads, basically white working class lads, before they go to the football on the Saturday, instead of getting smashed until kick off, they come down the allotment. They come down the allotment in the morning and they do all that, and then you'd have a few drinks before the game, like after lunch, whatever. But as soon as you try and start to have to sell this idea, it falls apart, because then you're like trying to, okay, so we've got to sell this as a package, so it becomes a beekeeping thing or a compost thing, or a seed growing thing, whatever. It becomes,
and then we need funders, and then we need partners, and then we need a logo, and then we need to go around to the local authorities, and then we need to do all the other things. If it's just a patch in the ground and people can go up and dig in it, it simplifies the whole process. Literally
it's bonkers, but it's something that you and Jack talk about on Mandas like all the time. We're like just around the corner from essentially being in what is feudal, essentially. Like, landlord.
These lads that are making aubergines before they go to the footy, they don't need to give 70% to the church, so it could be better than feudalism.
I mean,
the priest comes and takes all their potatoes away.
Potatoes, by the way, everyone in the chat, potatoes, one of the easiest things to grow, like ever. You get a seed potato, put it in a bag full of soil, and leave it. In a few months, you'll have potatoes. They're incredibly easy to grow. Just as a little tip.
It's good to know.
Yeah, it's dead easy. But yeah, this is it. I've seen the promise like so many times, and it's incredible. Like, and not even just growing as well, because this was the other thing. Is like it's not just about the growing. The connection with nature thing is like going outside and walking. Now I know you have said before that you've struggled with walking before. Like you get bored. Yeah, and so I never get bored on a walk. But I know so many people. The amount of times I've taken people with me, I'm like, yeah, come on this sick walk. And up the first hill, they're like, where are we going? They're like, I'm not into this at all. They hate it. And I'm like, I love this. So it's almost trying to take the excitement that I see from people when they grow stuff to also making them realize how exciting it can be just exploring and going out and just walking and walking in the hills and in the peaks and looking at the trees and like finding things, That's the other thing that I think is really cool. I love walking. I love trees and nature, and like the Peak District. Like I didn't realize
I walked
lived in Derby like 20 years. It wasn't until I was about 20 that I actually clocked like just like a few miles from where I am is the Peak District. And I didn't ever notice. But then I was 20 and I started smoking weed, and I was like, yes, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, you discover a lot of countryside when you want to either drink underage or take substances, and you need to be out of the house and you need to be where no one can see you. I spent a lot of the time in the countryside around that age.
That's it. But there was that. Like, I did get smashed from about 14 to 18, like exclusively, and then thought, "Rah, this is not the one."
Yeah, there has to come a point where you're like, I need any other hobby.
I just remember getting to 19, and it was like a royal wedding or something, like a Queen Jubilee or a royal wedding, and I went to the pub and I had like the very top bit of a pint, and I threw up everywhere.
Oh wow!
Everywhere. No idea why. I was like, I can't drink that. And then for the next like 2-3 years, I didn't drink at all.
Wow, just had one bad pint experience and that was it. Done.
I just overdone it.
Yeah.
I just overdone it. I don't know about you, Sean, but I was getting into nightclubs in town when I was like 14. Because I'm like 6'3", and I thought it was great at the time, but maybe not. Maybe not these days.
I think we were the same. I grew very tall in my teens, and I could go anywhere I wanted to. And I had this really fucked relationship with alcohol. And then by the time I got to uni, I was like, there was just loads of other kids that were like, I'm having my first drink. And I'm like, oh, I just feel sick of all this. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, that's absolutely my experience. I got to Goldsmiths, and Goldsmiths in 2010 on a politics and international relations course.
Oh, nice.
And I thought, yeah, this is sick. I tell you what, like, I've always wanted to do the creative thing, but I just did. You go to school and they tell you, innit? They tell you you got to go uni, otherwise you're gonna fuck up. So I was like, well, okay, I'll go somewhere trendy. And I had the exact same experience that you just said. When I got to Goldsmiths, what it felt like was being surrounded by a load of kids who'd never been let out before.
Do you know what I mean? And it was like, I don't want to hang out with you. Like, places where people go to drink was now really full of people you don't want to spend any time with.
Oh, they were just. I just remember like the kids in the flats below me. They were playing like Queen songs at like 3-4 in the morning, and I thought, oh, what are you doing? You clearly not got this out of your system, sort of thing. Stupidly, I went to university to learn, but it didn't really play out.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to do comedy, and then I just stopped going to lectures properly and just started going out and doing gigs.
But this is why I should have stayed in the Midlands and in the North, because then I would have been able to witness the Glang Show in real life. And not just
you can still witness the Glang Show will come to London again.
Oh, fuck London. Fuck London. I'll come to your gigs up north. That's where they got to be.
I mean, that's where they're better, but I will be travelling down to London again.
I saw
in fact,
Foxdog and Jane have both had gigs in London recently, and I haven't been to either of them.
We haven't got a venue yet, but Mando's might be coming down to London at some point. So I hope to see you at that.
100% be there. 100%.
We're going to do a live show this summer.
Yeah, Mando's is the greatest.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the greatest. I love it.
Just finished off a section. I've just finished off a section for the next episode, which is going to be called Crime Simps. And I've made Jambud, my partner, help me put together a selection of different true crime YouTubers complaining about the police as though it was unusual that the police didn't help or fucked the investigation up.
I can't wait. I actually can't wait.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The propaganda episode on Jonathan Creek was a particular favourite because I'm a huge Jonathan Creek fan.
Oh, nice. I think Jonathan Creek's like a funny thing to talk about when talking about propaganda because there's no cops in it.
Do you know what? That is until the Mando's app, I'd never ever thought about it like that, like whatsoever. Obviously, he is. He's he's a number in the police's
Yeah.
book. They call in it when they can't do what they're going to do.
He's a crime
Never-
magician.
I've never looked at it like that. I just see it as I don't know, I've got a real soft spot for like British police procedural dramas, even if they're terrible. I just love them. And Jonathan Creek, just the fact that he's not associated with the police, he hasn't really got a real job. He lives in a fucking windmill, and he always seems to procure these sidekicks that it's just. I think he's a great character. He's a great character. But I love the Mando's Ep. I loved it.
Nice.
I've never thought of it like that at all, ever.
Well, I mean, I just straightforwardly got into Columbo like last year because of More Vision, and that's just straight up a cop show. But he is
Columbo.
dishevelled, so that helps. He is scruffy.
See, this is it with things like Columbo. I've tried, honestly, I've tried to get into a lot of like old school, especially like American cop shows, and I struggle. I just don't seem to gel with them at all. But British ones, I just find they just work for me. I'm not really sure why. Like Silent Witness, again, it's not a cop show, but you've got a forensic pathologist who they're always on the side of the cops. You're always following that narrative, like, and I love that as well. No idea why. They're terrible programs. Generally, they're bad programs.
Oh yeah, they're formulaic and quite thin. Yeah. They're not good.
Nothing great about them at all, but I will watch Jonathan Creek on repeat.
This has been great. Thank you for coming in the night hole.
No problem at all. I feel honoured and blessed.
You have been one of the most memorable night hole guests, let me tell you, and I hope we all get to hear more from you in the coming weeks.
Yeah, me too. I will try to make an effort to contribute. But yeah, no, it's been fantastic. It's been great.
But even then, you're welcome to lurk. There's lurkers are valid too. TYDC in the chat, please. So thank you, Dominic Cummings.
No, thank you, chat. Thank you, Discord. Thank you, Morl Universe.
And thank you, Dominic Cummings.
It's a wonderful little space. I feel very blessed.
Thank you for saying so.
Discovered it, and I will contribute, especially in the House Bears channel. I have a huge House Bear.
People will be very excited to see more of your house bear.
Yeah, his name's Jeff. I will put a picture in the Discord. Yeah, he's massive. And he looks like a bear. He's got his own sofa. He's passed out at the minute, but I'll take a photo. I will.
That sounds ideal.
Thank you, Sean. I've just seen it's literally nearly 1 a.m.
That's what's prompted me to start thinking about wrapping up.
That is night hole.
It truly was. Our night has gone into the hole.
Oh, I've loved it. It's been fantastic, Sean.
Wonderful. Right. I'm glad you had a nice time. This was a wonderful chat.
It was.
And I'll see you soon.
Yeah, hope so. Goodbye, everybody in the chat. Have an incredible evening.
Thanks.
And I will see you. Oh shit! How do I do this? I'm trying to leave. Goodbye, everyone. I found it.
Goodbye. Wow, what a chat. Sometimes the night hole just is lovely, you know? Don't know what to do with myself now. Tomorrow is a very special and unusual anniversary. It is the 2-year anniversary of the original Funny Bear tweet. So at some point in the day, I will be I'll be posting that up again. I'll be posting the picture of the bear with, oh my God, this bear. And then I'll be retaining the mistake I made in February 2020 by accidentally including the crying emoji rather than the crying laughing emoji, which has always been a genuine mistake. But I'll do that for real, and if as many people as possible can retweet that with pissing myself funny bear. So the idea for that came, yeah, and let me just go and find it, I suppose. I'll just go and try and track it down. I'll show you the tweet and then I'll give you as much context as I can. From Sean Morl, search term this bear. Is this the original? Yeah, this is the original. So you can't see the numbers because I've installed an extension that removes all numbers from Twitter. So you can't actually see how many retweets or quote tweets it had. I'm just experimenting with having a numbers-free Twitter. No more analytics. No more differentiating between a popular tweet and an unpopular tweet. Why does the emoji not have eyes? Yes, this is a problem caused by my night mode. It sometimes flips the colour on stuff. It's actually really annoying. It's not your screen, it is. It's the first anniversary of Mr. Worldwide. What a world. We're thick and fast with anniversaries. So, Jack was round my flat recording something. And I don't know why, but I thought it'd be really funny to post something that was nonsense and ask a lot of people to retweet it as though they were really finding it funny to create this kind of Emperor's New Clothes effect. And he said, it's a funny idea, but like, what would be the thing? I said, oh, just a picture of a bear. And then everyone quote tweets it with pissing myself funny bear. And that phrase, pissing myself funny bear, made us laugh all evening. And it made me laugh the next day when I had a gig down in London and I just spent the whole journey going, all right, I'm going to get this bear going. But then I didn't look long enough. I wanted to get a really bad and blurry picture of the bear. And I made loads of options, but this was what I went with. Unfortunately, I didn't realise this bear actually mauled the camera person and got very severely injured. This actually was taken from a news thing, but it's the picture now, canonically. And if you look at quote tweets, nothing to see here yet. That's an error. Refresh. Okay, for some reason it can't load those up. But yeah, I just tweet this every year at this time. Oh my God, this bear. And I ask everyone who can to retweet it with the caption, pissing myself funny bear. And then you put 2 of these crying on it. It's a shame I can't show this. Maybe I'll disable my... I'll disable this Twitter thing. Twitter demetricator. I'll turn it off. Just so we can enjoy this. Okay, 91 quote tweets. Why can't we see them, though? Quote tweets for this, can we see those? From Sean Morl. This bear. I did it the next year. Is it there for the next year? What about if I use Firefox? I just want to see the quote tweets of everyone saying it. That's what the whole thing's for. Okay. It wants me to sign in. Well, I don't know why it won't work. Maybe if you go straight there on yours, it will work. Or we'll just see it on the new one when it hits 100 quote tweets. I don't know what to do with myself now. I probably should start getting ready for bed. Or I should just go to bed. Thank you all for a lovely stream. Next week I will be starting some new meds, and they might send me, they might make me tired or ill or whatever. Had a bumpy start with my last meds and they took me off them.
That's a nice height for me. It's pretty high, but I'm a pretty high guy.
So I don't know.
I might just put some
So just a heads up in case. I might start streaming more because I've got loads of energy and I feel good. I might start streaming less because I feel bad or weird. I will let everyone know.
Okay.
And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the stream. I hope everyone's had a nice time. I feel like I can't do... Nothing can follow the Dominic Cummings convo. I think maybe we'll get some bed in us.
And I'll wrap that up
Yeah, I don't know what's up with it.
like that. And I'll just put the stone on there.
Thank you all for the hole. Without you lot,
Filter.
there would be no hole. If anyone is lurking, it's always good to... Do you know, I always think maybe there's lurkers. If you do want to join this Discord you've heard so much about, here we all are. I don't know if anyone will be about to raid on Twitch. Nah. It's too late.
Because it's too strong.
People are resting. Oh yeah, I will make a thing for that. I wonder if anyone will ever use it. Well, use it sincerely. Welcome, Mono. It's great to have new chatters here. Okay, from me and from all the gang here, good night, and I will see you soon.
Now we'll put some greens in. Oh, we'll put some
Good
Just go to your local Starbucks to get
bye.
or your